Good afternoon, everybody. David Traylor of the Traylor Law Firm, and headed back with my lunch. I had court today in University Park. When I pulled up to the court, I was wearing a windbreaker and a t-shirt, but I slapped all this stuff on before I went into court. And I had been at the jail visiting a client who's accused of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Was involved in a shooting, and I was talking to him about his case. And then I stopped and talked to somebody about the grand jury and how they're doing those grand jury hearings now. I was told by a prosecutor that they had stopped grand jury proceedings and that they were going to resume them in September, but I'm not sure how good that information was, because today when I talked to the clerk in that office, he said they've been doing them all along and that they're running at about 95% capacity because, or 95% of what's normal for them, because they, God, I need to turn somewhere else. Because they only really shut it down when someone calls in sick. So that happens occasionally, and then they just resume the next day. But they've been running a regular grand jury docket. They have grand jury down in what would be called the basement of Frank Crowley. It's not really the basement, it's the first floor, but the first floor seems like the basement. So that's that news. But in other news, one of our colleagues passed away. A really respected, very kind lawyer, very helpful lawyer. Known her for a long time. She's been practicing probably almost as long as I have in criminal defense. Her name was Macy Jaggers. Apparently she died of a heart attack, 47 years old. She leaves a high school age son behind, from what I understand. It's terrible news. She was actually also the attorney that kind of was the keeper of the flame for other attorneys. We all kind of relied on her because she kept a list of officers who were not reliable witnesses, officers who were accused of lying or known to have lied, officers who had disciplinary history, what we would call Brady material. This is Brady material is when the state has information that they know may be helpful to defense attorneys, either bad officers or exculpatory evidence, something that would help you clear your client if you knew about it. That's Brady material. There's a case that goes by the name of Brady that says that prosecutors are duty bound to disclose that kind of information. So information on officers who have had difficulty testifying in the past, that kind of thing, that's Brady material. And so, for the longest time, there was no duty really. There was no case law that said there was a duty on prosecutors to give that material over. I think there still was, but it was less enforced, I suppose. It's still probably not enforced really, but there's more of an awareness and I think a goodwill effort to do that now by the prosecutors. But before they kind of had that, we really just kind of relied on them and had to keep up with it ourselves or find the information ourselves. And so this list went a long way towards giving us that ability, because we kind of knew every time one of us found out about an officer who was a problematic witness, we would let her know. She would put it on the list, and then every time you had a case, you could go to that list and look up the officers and see if they were problem children. And I know that I added some names to that list several times. Just recently I had an officer who had been at several police departments and fired because he was lying, and in fact one district attorney's office decided they would no longer sponsor his testimony because of his history of lying. So those are the kind of officers that were on that list, and Macy was the one who kept that. I guess someone's going to have to have that torch passed to them to keep that list, because we certainly need it. So we'll miss Macy. I guess gonna have to see where her funeral is, and Who knows? I've never been to a social distance funeral. Of course, my mom just died, but we didn't have a funeral. We cremated her and spread her ashes on the beach. So, 2020 claims another person. I always like to finish out these videos by saying it's only a free country if you're not in jail. Please call if you get in any trouble. Try to stay out of trouble, but call us if you get in any. Everybody take care.